Next up, we have one of the most dedicated members of the punk community. Eric Calderon is a Houston, Texas-based blockchain entrepreneur fully immersed in the NFT space. He has dedicated himself to exploring functional use cases for NFT technology, specifically in the art sector. In November 2020, these explorations culminated in the development and subsequent launch of the generative art platform Artblocks, and the release of his own NFT project, the Chromie Squiggle. Everyone, please give a warm, squiggly welcome to the fucking mad genius, Snowfro! There he is. Buddy, what's up? How was Marfa?
Oh man, I'm still recovering from how exciting it was. Can't tell you how many people were in Marfa that would tell me they would head straight to Charleston after that too. So for all of you guys that are there in Charleston right now, that came huge thanks. It was such a special event.
Nice, amazing.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We got you. We got your back. We're back here. So. How did you first learn of CryptoPunks? It sounds like it was quite early and obviously very, very influential in sort of Artblocks' genesis. What kind of initially drew you to this project, and what made you, want to dive into this space so head first?
I was participating in Ethereum at a time when anytime there was anything that came out in the Ethereum ecosystem, I was compelled to try it. I think there just weren't too many people out there building, and there definitely weren't nearly as many people participating. I was on a subreddit called Zedd, and there was also another Ethereum subreddit, and on one of the two, somebody posted a link to the Launch project. And after having kind of navigated the space and of course getting really excited about it from a nerdy techie perspective, this just literally reading the introduction of this project made everything click. I still have this in my Twitter bio that Matt and John lit the fuse. I think there may have been. Historically people are like, oh yeah, that's not the very first NFT. I don't care. This is the first project that meaningfully made it clear why the Ethereum blockchain was going to be powerful for art, for digital objects, and I just never looked back ever since.
So how long after the CryptoPunks came out did you sort of learn of them? In what year was this?
It was, I think, the day after it was announced. I somehow I was able to claim a bunch of zombies. So it was, I would say that maybe day 2. I imagine that by day 3 the zombies would be somewhere between day 1 and day 3. Not entirely sure.
Gotcha. And how many? That's right. I totally forgot that you minted a bunch. So how many did you initially claim when you saw these first?
I claimed 36. I claimed 34 zombies, and I claimed one that I thought looked like my wife, and I claimed one that I thought looked like a good friend of mine at the time.
Wait. I don't think that you claimed 34 zombies?
I claimed 34 zombies.
That's fucking crazy. So what caused you to, there was obviously more that could be claimed. What caused you to not claim more?
I ran out of gas. I had $30 of gas in my wallet, and it already felt pretty ridiculous to be spending that much time. It wasn't the amount of money I spent, it was the amount of time that I spent. But at the time, if you run out of Ethereum, you kind of had to buy more Ethereum in Coinbase, and it took 3 days to get more. So there was really no other way to get my hands on more Ethereum. And I just ran out. And also, my wife was like, dude, you need to check back in here. Because I was 600,000 blocks behind on the Ethereum blockchain. At the time, you had to have the full node on at least as far as I knew, on your computer to be able to operate the wallet, my Ether wallet, whatever the wallet was. And so I had to wait for the blockchain to sync, desperately kind of watching punks get picked off as I was doing that. And then it was like a 6-hour ordeal to claim all these punks, and then at the end of it, I was just exhausted. My wife thought I was absolutely batshit crazy, and I just kind of shut down after that.
That's amazing. So, obviously, with this project being so influential on art blocks, what are some of the lessons that you took from how you saw the community playing out here that you wanted to sort of recreate in the art blocks community?
Wow. Well, I think of things that I learned about how rapidly things can get out of control. I think maybe that was the key thing. I mean, just kind of watching, the CryptoPunks Discord go from 1 or 2 messages a day, sometimes a week, to a few hundred a day to, I just remember I'd log in and there was never a moment where I didn't say someone was typing for a significant amount of time. And that year things kind of escalated and got a little bit crazy, and all of a sudden all the conversations about P rights started coming up and what people were paying thousands of dollars for. And what do you mean I spent $10,000 on this thing and I don't get to print shirts with it? And, I wasn't doing that. Like confused group for a little bit there as well. And so, really just kind of understanding why people are there and being empathetic to what drew people, and understanding that different reasons drew different people. And there was probably 10 different categories of people who were there. But there was a group of us that were there from the very beginning that really just kind of felt like we understood what was going on. We were educating people on what a punk was, what a wallet was, how to transfer, how to buy, how to bid. And realizing that when there's this curiosity, when you can spark that curiosity in people, they'll go down this rabbit hole, they'll go down this rabbit hole with you, and they'll come out with an incredible sense of satisfaction, assuming they don't get scammed, which is obviously an issue, and an incredible sense of pride and belonging in whatever that may be. And I feel like, once we launched Art Blocks, we kind of had this opportunity to do a similar thing and just, be kind in our Discord and talk to people and help people understand what's all this craziness all about. Let people go down this on-chain rabbit hole. Let people go down this terror rabbit hole. The results were pretty awesome, and I learned everything I learned from the CryptoPunks Discord. So, crazy to think how much time was spent there, but also how much was absorbed in that time.
That's amazing. How do you think, as somebody obviously deeply immersed in digital art, how do you think CryptoPunks changed how you look at the art world, and how you think it will eventually sort of affect the rest of the art world?
Well, I was fighting really hard for, after I kind of came to terms with the fact that we weren't going to have P rights, obviously eventually we were going to get P rights. Because I wanted to make this really nerdy time. I was in the tile business, and I wanted to make the tile with a bunch of CryptoPunks inside. This is another story. But when I came out of that, I realized that it just wasn't the right thing to do. Like I was such a proud holder of these things. I dedicated a lot of time to learning about the project and collecting all the different attributes and getting really deeply involved with the why. I got to this point where I thought, I don't think I'd ever want this to happen. I see this in the museum. There's a lot of BEEPLE has done a really interesting mining of the CryptoPunks Discord and draw out a bunch of comments that I made along the way, and a lot of them were just like this crazy conviction that one day there would be an exhibition would show all the evidence in place. And this is a couple years before things actually got crazy and out of control with CryptoPunks. Once the value started skyrocketing, once we started seeing this stuff at Christie's and these aliens go for insane amounts of money, it just felt very clear to me that these were not just another form of IP, although they're really awesome as IP as well. But the beginning of the movement for me, the beginning of the movement for thousands of people, the entry into the rabbit hole for thousands, maybe millions of people into what crypto is. And something like that, I feel, deserves less to be something that is just looked at as a commercial version, or something that should be looked at as a pure museum-grade piece. And whether it's the museums of today, or whether it's whatever the museum is of tomorrow, based on what's happening within the digital art space. it was just a really incredible experience to watch all that.
And as somebody who does, obviously view this as a very legitimate piece of art, I'm sure you're quite aware that there's a lot of people in the traditional art world that view this as, some sort of crypto gambling thing. What is the way that you sort of explain this to them to get them to see the innovation, get them to see the sort of craft in this, get them to see the intent and the message with this artwork that, the way you or I see it?
Starting from just memories of generative art, this is a piece of generative art. They didn't paint every single pixel on every single pixel, CryptoPunk. And from that perspective alone, there's a different, it just kind of makes people understand it a little bit differently when they realize that one human didn't actually manually fabricate this piece. So that kind of opens up the conversation of what is it meant to be generative algorithm and how a computer spit out these things. But then when you start talking to people about the identification that people have associated with these punks, these are 24 pixel by 24 pixel characters that pack quite a bit of humanity into them. And to the point where it's not uncommon to be a encoder for the first time and realize that they look a lot like their PFP. It's not just the algorithm, it's not just the fact that they can make 10,000 of them, it's that they can pack so much into such a small package that I think is very much the root of the art. And the fact that us as humans can go into something that's such low resolution. I mean, as we progress through just starting at Zelda and moving into whatever's coming out on the latest Nintendo or PlayStation, just in terms of like the fact that resolution has multiplied so significantly, and we almost find ourselves, I know that the younger generations have a hard time enjoying 8-bit games, but the fact that we can go back to this like extremely rudimentary, simple object that represents so much and find so much joy in it and be able to represent ourselves as that very simple 24 by 24 pixel character, I think just speaks volumes of what the project stands for. And what would it have been if it was instead of CryptoPunk, it was all of the things that came after that were also really great. I think there's this unlocking of curiosity, this unlocking of like a childhood, this unlocking of nostalgia, this kind of like kid in all of us that they somehow managed to unlock here, and that seems to resonate with people, even the most kind of anti-digital art folks. It's like, look, we all have nostalgia, we all resonate with things from the past, and there's a whole group of people that have deeply resonated with the art behind these pieces.
Awesome, for sure. Where would you like to see the CryptoPunks community sort of go from here? 2023, moving forward, where would you like to see, what would you like to see, change or more of or different?
Well, I especially appreciated Claire's comment that the CryptoPunks community is a well-educated family. I do think that even from the very start, as people started going, down the rabbit hole, once they started understanding what this was and became a part of this community, they generally were the most, or some of the most educated people. And that doesn't just mean on digital objects, they were the most educated people on wallet security, on just like what Ethereum means and what it can do for the future. And I think that there's people can use these as a flex, people can use these as art, people can use these to embroider onto a hoodie, and that's all great. But it also, to me, is really special when a CryptoPunk holder or someone that represents themselves as a CryptoPunk stands out as a guide, as a shepherd, as a steward of not just the punks, but of the entire digital art community. Because at this point, they're expensive enough to where it's not just a random decision for most people, so they have to do some research. And if you were lucky enough to get them at $2 or $20, $200 or $2,000, it was early enough where you really kind of had to understand and figure it out as you went. In either of those two cases, you're generally going to be someone that has the best interest of not just the CryptoPunks community, but of the entire digital art space at heart. And I look at that as a guiding light. I look at everybody that owns a CryptoPunks at these meetups. which I've had the chance to go to a few of them in the last year, and it's just like these are some of the most special people in the entire Ethereum ecosystem, and I think that will continue to be the case for the future.
There it is, there it is. Well, sir, unfortunately we are out of time. Until next time, everybody, Snowfro!